Good afternoon, everyone. Report out social vulnerability in Central Europe early 1700s. How the climate's going to shift from today's conditions, cold and wet, wet and wet in different parts of the year. Looking back, Switzerland and the Czech Republic area. So you can see historically, bad harvest, how much will it increase? Taking a look at Romania, orchard conditions there. Snows in Western Europe for the next 10 days. And looking at French vineyard production, I'm pegging these areas right here, decreased yields this year. And this video is made possible by TrueLeafMarket.com. Let's start off with this report here, social vulnerability in the Little Ice Age, Central Europe, early 1700s. What they did was put together adverse climate patterns and also the economic effects that came along with that as a yardstick to assess climate severity and impacts moving forward with grain prices and demographic data, which means population migration. So what they did was start to break it down in weather-related impacts for agricultural production. So September and October, at the bottom there, the agricultural products, vineyards are going to be cold and wet. And then March and April, late frost, which we've seen last year and the year before and the year before that. Then in July and August, we also saw the wet with the hailstorms. So this seems to be matching up pretty well with what the transition into European agriculture looks like, at least around France, Switzerland, northern Italy, and Austria. And then what I really liked about the report is they went to put the amplitude of grain prices on the weather conditions shifting. So they saw 4 times increase in food prices as the harvests were reduced during the 1700s for this 45-year period. So for you and I in the modern age, if our food price quadruples, where does that take out of the rest of the greater spending economy, and how would that affect our global economy? Let alone just your local area retailers. And looking deeper at the 2 areas here, Switzerland, that is the dark black line. And the Czech lands, well, you got to remember this is back in 1755, so today it's Czech Republic area, that is the dotted line. Left side is the pricing in the monetary unit of that time, but you can see when the grain crops were lost, what the increases were from an average of 20 up to 80. A better harvest came in over the next couple of years. Things stabilized a bit, prices went down, but then they had another bad harvest around 1772 and prices went up for 5 years. Then they came back down. Then they had some stable harvests and then prices back up again. We can expect the exact same repeats coming up. So it's a guarantee that food prices are going to increase as our weather gets more unstable due to the increasing intensity of the grand solar minimum. Let's take a look over here at Europe. This is the snow depth in inches from April 25th to May 5th. Notice the border areas there, mountainous areas of course, but you wouldn't expect 100 inches of snow this late in the season to still continue. So I've been following France and Austria's wine production for the last several years since I started my channel. Actually, some of my first few videos were on the vineyard losses in these areas. I've kept tabs with it, and back in 2017, the worst frost in 25 years. And with amazingly bone-chilling cold temperatures with the European super freeze 1.0 and 2.0 that swept through the region just last month, these severe frosts have continued. So I am going to come out right here. I've circled on the map the areas that have had sustained losses for the last 3 years. Plus this year, I do believe they are going to have decreased yields once again. That does not include the areas in Switzerland or Austria that were decimated and are down 50% of production already, especially in Eastern Austria area. These are the specific wine growing regions in France. So I'm calling it right now grand solar minimum effect, not CO2. And if I can start pegging where these areas are that are going to go offline and decrease yield, I'm doing it. Others can do it as well. And governments for sure know what's happening. And when I talked about the border area of Switzerland, right here you go. Dead center is Switzerland. Off to the west we have France. Down to the south we have Italy. And once you start to overlay this map with where we look at the vineyard production on the edge of the mountains coming down into lower lands, you can peg the losses there too. I'm going to do a more in-depth vineyard loss study of just these regions in Europe. Expect wine prices to increase. Let's jump over to Romania. This is a follow-up from the same article that I pulled about a month ago. Mid-March, buds were frozen. Absolutely everything was ice-caked, and this is not healthy for plants and trees at all. That's 100% loss pretty much in the orchard areas, and when you look, every single tree was the exact same condition. Close in here for you can see the ice damage again and again, and it looks like they're around 98% loss for the year. This is just another single location. So by doing this again and again, we can really overlay and start to pinpoint areas that are going to go offline based on prior cycles, not CO2, based on prior grand solar minimum cycles, and how we need to find solutions for what's already occurring. I'm thinking of solutions to try to mitigate this. Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of the video. And this video is made possible by TrueLeafMarket.com. Heirloom and organic seeds for any grow zone on our planet. All of the links to the articles I discussed, plus True Leaf Market, are in the description box below the video.